Good morning, Clement and 702 listeners. My submission this morning, I'd love to congratulate Melo Sekigaba for obtaining his doctorate. I think he is an inspiration to many of us. Thank you, Mbuyiseni.
Morning, Clement Manyathela and 702 listeners. I think the decision is welcome of the Minister of Higher Education being relieved of her duties, but this is no credit to the president. He was put under tremendous pressure to take this. This should have happened like he did with that minister of the DA that went to US, deputy minister. He was quick to act on that one, but here he had to juggle around. But I think we understand now is because of the links and the deployment and the ANC, etc., etc. So there's no credit that must go to the president on this one. Thank you.
So Clement, taking my morning jog, I had to just pause and celebrate with my brother. I'm glad she's gone. Oh my God. I think she didn't understand that she's a public servant, Kim. She didn't understand that, you understand? But more than anything, I think flowers must go to the committee as well. DA guys, EFF guys, Kakao, and other guy from EFF. Stellar job, guys. Awesome. I hope the tone is set for how committees ought to operate, and key takeaways be learned by the provincial structures and the municipal structures to say in committees this is how you hold people accountable. What I look forward to see, Clem, is who now hires this lady with this reputation. Shame on them now. Who hires this lady with this level of arrogance and incompetence? Cheers. Thanks, Clem.
Good morning, Clement. Good morning to fellow listeners. Clement, I don't know, man. Remember, this lady was supposed to face the portfolio committee today, with regards to her appearing before the committee 2 times now. And now yesterday, we are made to believe that she was just fired. I don't know. I'm just thinking this was just a strategy by the president trying to move her away from, facing and accounting for lying and all of those. Now it simply means, does it mean that she won't have to account now?
Look, the probe is going to continue with the ethics committee. What Letsie says at the Letsie is that they're not going to continue. They're going to continue with the probe with the DG, but the legal advice they've received is that you can't really try the minister without her coming through to appear before the committee because she is no longer a minister. But the ethics committee will continue with that probe about whether or not she's lied to Parliament. I think there's enough evidence for that committee to make a ruling. That's very important. Just because someone leaves, resigns, or is fired doesn't mean that that's where accountability stops. So even in this case, I can't wait to hear what the ethics committee will do. And I know normally their investigations or probes take time, but I really hope that they get to a point where this woman, again, will be used as an example to these ministers who often demonstrate arrogance towards a body like Parliament that's constitutionally obligated to hold them accountable.
Great job to the President, Clement. I love it that ultimately Nkabane is gone. That woman was frustrating, I tell you. That woman was frustrating each time you watch her. It's just that now, my celebration was short-lived when I saw President bringing in another questionable character like Nomusa Dube. I mean, with such a questionable past and, of course, corruption that she's been involved in some municipalities in Durban, then I was like, dude, you can't send away or dismiss or fire Nkabane and bring another Nkabane in. So now that's kind of, it just deflated my spirit a little bit. But after all, well done, President, at long last.
Yeah, look, I don't know. Can you just direct me to the corruption involving Nomusa Ngube? I don't remember reading anything to that effect when she was the mayor, premier, I should say, premier of KwaZulu-Natal. Please direct me to that. I've not seen that. I know that she was one of the people that were appointed to the SITA boards by this minister who's now out. But I still don't understand the objection to her as the deputy minister. I don't understand why there's an objection to her based on the fact that her name was included there by the minister to be one of the SITA board chairpersons. So maybe help me understand that a little bit more. But I'd like to know also about her track record. When you say that she was involved in corruption in KZN, which corruption was that? Because I don't remember that. I've had Nomusa Ngube on the show several times, and often when I've heard her, people who come from KZN have often praised her leadership from the time when she was premier. Maybe I've missed it. Please direct me to that part where she has a questionable past. What exactly is it that she was involved in as far as corruption is concerned? As for her name being part of the SITA board chairs, I don't understand that objection. Because the issue here has never so much been about, every single person on that list is problematic. The issue here was the list of SITA board chairs was riddled with politicians. But you need board chairpersons who are independent. That's why the concern is, how do you have Gwede Mantashe's son as a board chair? You've got Gwede Mantashe's advisor as a board chair. And then you've got all these other politicians to be board chairs of SITAs, which are supposed to be these independent institutions that are helping us with skills development, with helping with eradicating unemployment. Doesn't necessarily mean there are people that are incompetent on that list. In fact, if you look at the entire list, there are other people who were suggested to be board chairs who are very much capable of doing the job. So I really don't understand the objection to Nomusa Ngube being appointed the deputy minister when in fact that's what the president does. Take politicians in the ANC and in the DA and in the IFP and in the UDM and all these other parties in the DNU and appoint them to cabinet or to be deputy ministers. Yeah, let me know what questionable past Nomusa Ngube has that maybe I have missed.
This is why she was like that. She couldn't care less. She knows, her food is still going to be on her table. This is Nadis here. Thank you.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's bring in Vincent Magwenya, who speaks on behalf of the president, joining us on the line. Vincent, thanks for your time. Hi.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to your listeners.
What took the president so long?
Well, Clement, we can opine on that, but the reality is that the president always seeks to act in fairness. In this particular case, he gave Minister Nkabane the opportunity to explain herself, and one could say to even look at corrective measures. Unfortunately, that was not to be. Misleading Parliament, amongst other issues, became a grave concern for the president, and ultimately he had to exercise his prerogative and act as it did.
What was the last straw for him?
Well, the issue has been of concern for quite some time, ever since that unfortunate appearance by the former minister. And the president had been applying his mind and processing the issue. I guess the last bit, when the minister could not present herself to Parliament during a scheduled hearing, escalated matters, but it had been an issue that the president has been concerned about and was processing.
Is that why the president had stopped her from going to China? And I suppose the reason I'm asking about the timeline is when the president took that decision then, 2 weeks ago, we thought, okay, he's preparing to make that decision, and then it was another 2 weeks before he could act yesterday.
Well, the matter was still being processed when the president decided to stop the former minister from going to China. I think it was appropriate of the president to do so, considering that the matter was being processed and the matter was coming to finality, so to speak.
Okay. What was she fired or did she resign? Because she released a statement before the president could release a statement announcing his decision. Can you just clarify that for us? And what does protocol actually say in a situation where the president removes you from his cabinet? Like, do you communicate before the president even communicates that decision?
Well, that was an unfortunate departure from the established protocol, Clement. The protocol is when the president makes a decision about an appointment, whether he's appointing a person or is removing a person, the onus to communicate that decision is left to the president. Up until such time the president has communicated, no one is to communicate the president's decision. And so that was unfortunate, but in essence, she was removed, or you could say she was fired, yes.
All right. Vincent Magwenya, thank you for your time. That's the spokesperson for the presidency. Just chatting to us about really what happened before this decision was ultimately made yesterday. About time.